Hello, this is far future Margaret here to tell you that this video is actually edited and re-uploaded. The original video had 3 separate booktubers in it, but one of them proved to be not great for the community. And if you know, you know. I'm not gonna get too into it here. And I thought about deleting the video entirely, but the other 2 booktubers included and the other indie books talked about still deserved that airtime. And thankfully, the book that I recommended to that booktuber was a Shammy Stovall book, and I talk about her obsessively anyway, so I'm not robbing an indie author that doesn't get a lot of airtime on my channel by removing that section as well. So I hope that you guys don't mind it, and I hope that we can move forward, and I'll be maybe a little bit more careful to vet the people that I do these kind of videos on in the future. Hello, my name is Margaret Adele, and welcome to episode 3 of Calling Out Booktubers, the video series where I make personalized suggestions to specific booktubers for indie books I think they'll like. And I haven't had too much feedback from the last video, but I'm pretty sure about this one because, well, these are some of my favorite booktubers. Now, I always kind of come up with groups for this series. Episode 1, it was non-binary people. Episode 2 was dudes. Episode 3 is what I like to call the cozy Brits of Booktube. It's a little corner of Booktube filled with mostly women who just make you want to put on a nice cozy cardigan or jumper with a nice mug of tea and sit by a windowsill as you watch the rain drip down the pane with a book in your hand. And in this one, I knew exactly who I wanted to suggest books to, and I had that kind of idea because all 3 of these ladies love high fantasy. But I wanted to make absolutely sure I had the perfect picks. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Up first is Cody from Cody's Book Corner. She is probably best known for her Wheel of TBR video, and it's fantastic because the wheel always screws her over and gives her big books, but she's so dedicated to it. And like the other 2 in this cozy Brit corner of BookTube, she loves high fantasy. And I saw in one video she mentioned that she hasn't read a lot of queer high fantasy. And I recently read a queer norm high fantasy that I adored. So my pick for Cody is All the King's Traders by Keelan Rivers. Keelan is actually an author tuber, I believe is how she would describe her channel, but this is one of my biggest 5 stars of recent note, and I love it. Now, it's one of those books where it kind of has multiple different subplots going on at once, but the gist of it is this land is ruled by a god king, aka a king that calls himself a god, who wants to control all of the magical godstones that are in the world. And there are various people that are pretty annoyed by that and want to, you know, form a rebellion. Some for righteous, we must bring down the evil king reasons, others for the I want power reasons. And I'm pretty sure that character might have a Zuko-esque redemption arc. I don't know, fingers crossed. But what I loved about this world was A, very unique. It's not just the same general dwarves and elves shoved into the world. 2, the magic system is kind of like a hard magic, but really cool and also randomized at the same time with these godstones that fall from the sky. They're magical rocks, fall from the sky, and whatever they touch first is the thing they summon. And this could be like if they fall into water, okay, you're like a water bender now, essentially. If they fall on a crow, you can now summon birds. If they get hit by lightning while they fall, well, now you can summon lightning. And it's a really cool, random, but also hard magic system that I love. And the characters just jump off the page. We have a meet cute between 2 female characters that I really want to see come to fruition because, oh, this ending gutted me. We also have an openly trans character that I love. There is a character called Dane, and they kind of just mention in passing that, oh yes, this character knew Dane when he used to be called Danielle, and like it's kind of like, oh yeah, BTW, this character is trans, don't worry about it. And I love it that it's just accepted by the general world, which is why this is one of my favorite high fantasy books of recent note. And because I know Cody struggles with her TBR wheel, giving her way too many big books, this one isn't that big. I think it's under 400 pages. Yep, just a little over 350. So it's a really nice book to scooch in when you're, getting given so many 500-page tomes from the wheel. But in general, I just want to see more people read this because I want queer norm high fantasy to become a thing. And I think it's a really, really easy book to get into, especially if you haven't read a lot of queer high fantasy like Cody mentioned. So I really, really hope that she would be interested in this one. Up next is a booktuber that I've been watching for so long. I love her TBR game video, and that is Becca from Becca and the Books. Her Bookopoly videos are so unique. It almost inspired me to make my own TBR game until I remember that I don't do TBRs. But regardless, she is one of the few people that can convince me to watch a reading vlog, and that is saying a lot because they're so long, you guys. Regardless, I wanted to buy one of her candles for forever. The problem is that if you're sending them from out of the UK, they're like twice the cost, like shipping wise. So I'm still saving up for that one, but I am a mage in the Book Junkie Trials, and she is the head of the mages, so I gotta give it to her. And this one, I actually had it specifically picked out before I read it. So then I had to read it, make sure I liked it enough to recommend it. So for Becca, from Becca and the Books, I recommend The Masters of Deception by J.C. Kang. Now, Becca mentioned that she loves Asian fantasy, and I really wanted to add more own voices Asian work to my list, and I finally have it. Now, this book is very dense in world building. It revolves around this young diviner, not young, I guess, but a diviner called Cassius, who has been tasked throughout his family lineage to guard these giant gems on top of pyramids. And these pyramids are basically keeping away these evil orc gods that once kind of destroyed everything. And it is his ancestor that kept them away, so now his family is tasked with keeping that up forever, essentially. When he discovers that the mafia families of the town he lives in are going to basically try and take over the pyramid, he has to, lie and pull some cons and do some things to get together a group of people to stop that from happening. And the one thing I loved about this is Cassius was truly morally gray in a way that you don't see a lot of characters, in that he was doing really iffy things and telling a lot of lies, but you could see that his heart was kind of in the right place. And while, yes, he did con people with a lot of his divinations, it's mostly because divining takes a lot of energy out of you. So he couldn't do it as regularly as everyone wanted, so he found other ways to supplement it. So, yeah, it's lying and it's a con, but, it's not totally bad. Anyway, this magic system is also very, very hard, and I love that a lot of the characters, when they use magic, are very drained as a result of it, and it felt like a fully realized world. There's a ton of different Asian cultures influenced in here. There's one culture where it's entirely matriarchal, where all the women hold the places of power. And so hearing, one character discuss men as, a man leading things? Well, that's so strange. It made me laugh. I will say it's a little bit confusing if you're not used to that kind of book where it's a lot of different people on their own personal quests and personal goals and a lot of scheming and conniving for power. But Becca loves Game of Thrones. So here's my thinking, was that if you love Game of Thrones, you usually also like the scheming, conniving, vying for power, lying type of stuff. And this is an Asian fantasy and its own voices. So I'm kind of, maybe a little work. Again, I haven't had a lot of feedback from my recent video to know that my guesses are still on track, but I'm hopeful with this one. But I really hope that she would like that kind of book. I actually am going to review it. It's not up as of uploading this video, and I actually have the prequel in the series to review next, and I'm really excited. It's such a great growing found family that you can kind of sense is going to come together in future books, which I love because it feels very genuine and very, natural instead of them throwing together and automatically being a found family. But I really hope she would like that one. So I've been talking for maybe a little bit too long, but this is just a video I was so excited in because these are all books that I love and booktubers that I love. I love all of the TBR games and the readathons, and I swear eventually I'm gonna get a candle, but maybe I gotta wait for the right book. I gotta wait for the right right book to get the candle for it. But anyway, if you would be interested in any of these books, or you have any other quote-unquote cozy Brit booktubers you'd like to recommend, please mention them down in the comments below. I am always looking for more recommendations. And with nothing else to say, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.